I invite you to hear these words from the Gospel of Matthew. We've been in Luke throughout the Christmas season, and today we shift gears a little to hear what Matthew might say to us. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came. They came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the child who was born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising, and we've come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. Calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. And they told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet, for you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. From you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people, Israel." Then Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared, and he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go, search diligently for this child, and when you have found him, bring me word, so that I might also go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. And then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. Would you be in prayer with me? Holy God, some light, some star drew us to this place at this moment. Thank you for lighting our way and inviting us here. Help us in these moments to hear what you would say to us. Let my words and our ponderings and meditations be acceptable in your sight. We ask it in the name of our Christ, who is our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Well, every year we come to this Sunday when we think of the three kings or the wise men or the Magi, and we start with that question, what thing should we call them? Are they Magi or wise men or kings, or what's the deal? I don't know. Somewhere along the way we decided there were three because there are three gifts. Somewhere along the way we started calling them kings because it matches with some of the prophecy we find that kings were going to come. Maybe they were kings. Maybe they were Magi. Maybe they were Babylonian priests. When you look at the gifts they bring, that matches up a little bit. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it matters that they came. Which raises the question, why did they come? They saw a star, apparently. They were in the east somewhere, so Babylonia or Persia or Arabia, somewhere. Matthew doesn't tell us. We don't really know. But they see a star. They're Magi. They spend time studying the stars, looking for truth in some way, looking for what's up with God in that way. Do you ever wonder that question? What's up with God? What's the deal? Sure. We do. They do too. They did too. And they looked in the skies. Because if you ever look up at the stars, if it's actually not cloudy at night, you can see stars. Would you notice a new one if it showed up? Maybe not. But they notice this one somehow, and they follow it. And it leads them to Jerusalem, and they ask for directions. And there's lots of internet jokes about men who ask for directions. We're going to leave those over there. But they're not quite sure where to find this king of the Jews that somehow they've gotten word of. They saw a star, and they understand somehow that something's happened, and they want to come and see what it's about, and even to pay homage to this king. I wonder what motivated them to do such a thing. Matthew doesn't tell us. They just show up. Shepherds heard from an angel, and they showed up, right? Luke tells us that story. We don't hear that the wise men, Magi, Babylonian priest people, kings, see an angel. They see a star. Maybe the star was an angel. I don't know. But they come for some reason with a kind of hopefulness about this king that's coming. They come to pay him homage. They come to bring these kingly gifts, which are not very practical for babies, and there's internet memes about those. We're going to leave over here where it talks about casseroles and diapers and things that new babies need. Yeah. But these are kings. These are magi, and what they have is gold and frankincense and myrrh. Things of tremendous value that they would bring. And they bring them, and they worship Jesus. But why did they come? What are they hoping for? What were Herod and the chief priests and the scribes afraid of? When they come looking for the king, there's great fear in these groups of authorities. And in all of Jerusalem, Matthew tells us, people are nervous about this king, what's going on. This is the Messiah that's been expected, that's supposed to make everything whole and bring reconciliation and restoration and salvation. We've been hoping for this. We, the people of God, have been hoping for this for ages. And now we're afraid of the very thing we hoped for. In the middle of a broken world, Bob Dylan sings a little song titled, "Everything is Broken." Broken bottles, broken glass, broken switches, broken gates, broken dishes, broken parts. Streets are filled with broken hearts. Broken words never meant to be spoken. Everything is broken. And then there's a fun blues riff that happens, but you have to go look it up to hear that. It's a lament that Dylan sings. It's not the only one Bob Dylan sings by any means, but he's noticing that our world has a number of things that could be better. Does your world have a number of things that could be better in it? Maybe there's broken words that have been spoken. Maybe along the way you found yourself with a broken heart about something, a relationship, something in the news, something in your neighborhood, something in yourself. There are parts of our lives where we experience brokenness. We're not always as good at putting words to it as somebody like Bob Dylan, but it's there. And into that brokenness, just like into the brokenness of that Roman-occupied Bethlehem, Jerusalem area where Herod has to ask, where's the Messiah even going to be born, because he doesn't know. Into that brokenness, the King of the Jews comes. Jesus comes. A light comes. Hope comes. A star shines. And as Simeon reminded us in the passage last week, this hope comes to the Gentiles and his glory for the Jews. Jesus comes for everybody, not just a select few, not certain people who followed certain rules, not people who were of a certain lineage, not any of that, but for everyone. That's me and you, and the person sitting next to you, whether you like to think of that or not. I was reading something recently that struck me as I was thinking about this passage. Salvation isn't for you. That's how this person started the paragraph. And I said, wait a minute, what? I thought Jesus came for me. I've heard that before. I've heard other preachers say that. I've said it. And it's true. Jesus comes for each of us. That's what Simeon references. That's what we're talking about. Jesus is for all of us. But if salvation were simply for me, then when I said yes to Jesus, I would have died and gone to heaven. Done. Right? That would have been it. Except I didn't. Well, I'm glad. Do you notice that the shepherds came to visit Jesus and they went back to their lives? These magi come to visit and they don't stay. They go back by another road to avoid Herod because they had a warning. They go back a different way. We might want to play with that a little bit and say they go back differently from how they came. Changed even. The shepherds went back praising God and telling people what they had seen. We weren't called here this morning to stay. Salvation isn't just for us. Salvation is for the next person we meet. Salvation is for us as a community, us as a group, and beyond the walls of this room. Which is why work we do at places like the Open Shelter matters. Because we offer salvation to someone, sometimes in the form of a sandwich or a sleeping bag. But if you're sleeping outside at night, a sleeping bag can literally save your life. Literally save your life. And then the kindness someone showed means you come back, and you come back, and you come back, and you experience community, and something changes. There's transformation. This business of Jesus coming is not an evacuation plan so we can leave the troubles of the world. It's a transformation plan so we can be a part of God's work to repair what's broken. That's the star that brought us here, and that's the star that leads us out as we go. Like the Magi, I hope we have eyes to see where God is leading us. Amen.